Hello, everyone. Linette here with Women of Color in Business. This is our final episode of season one, also our final episode of 2023. I want to come on and just thank you all for being a part of our process here. Um, with me, you have had the pleasure of meeting some very beautiful Black women in business. They have graciously shared their journeys with us, the ups and downs, the good, the bad, the ugly. They've shared many resources with us, from things to do with marketing to how to get grants for your business. They've shared their passions with us, why they started their business, their fears, what held them back, and what pushed them forward. And it is my deep, deep desire that everything they shared and poured from their hearts and opened up and connected us with um, was able to give you insight, inspiration, and information, resources, just encouragement that owning your own business is possible and that you're not alone in the process. One of the main reasons that I started the podcast was because I, in starting my own business, felt like I was alone on my own. And being a solo entrepreneur can be very lonely because you're basically trying to do everything yourself. And we know there is no one person that is an expert at every area of business. So I started searching to find resources and places where I can go and hear and see what other solo entrepreneurs were doing, how they were handling the process, what resources they had found, and what did they learn about themselves, how they had grown personally and professionally in the process, because being an entrepreneur is a life choice and it takes a special kind of person to continue on the path. I felt a lot of what I needed out there lacking, so I decided to create the podcast so I could bring that to other people like me who are on the search for that sisterhood, that knowledge, that awareness that they're not the only one thinking and feeling the way they do, and that it gets better. That it's okay to have a bad day, a bad week, a bad month, but to come away with it with learnings. So in this episode, I want to first of all thank you all my listeners, every beautiful Black woman that participated as a star of one of my podcasts. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for your sharing, for everything you gave to us, and how this information would help women of color going forward as they venture into their entrepreneur journeys. Additionally, I wanted to complete this season, since we're in December, close to the end of the year, with a little information about setting goals for next year. It can be a challenging process for a lot of us to know where to start. How should the process look? How can I make sure it's going to be successful? What's going to make sense for me and my business? So I want to go through just a couple of quick steps to help you learn through your process. And the first part of setting goals for next year, I think, and I'm going to approach this from a very holistic point of view, is that you should first sit down and first in your planning, know that you should do this over a couple of days. This shouldn't be done in one sitting. It shouldn't be done in one day, because you need time for your emotions and for your thought process to work through the past, the present, and the future. In order to do that, you have to allow yourself the space to think about this, let it marinate, then come back to it. So first of all, you want to look at what happened in this year. So what happened in 2023? And I suggest you look at 3 areas. What did you accomplish? What did you learn? And what did you release? So sit down with a pen and paper, write down, what did I accomplish this year? What did I learn this year? What did I release? Because a lot of times we don't give ourselves that, the wealth of that experience of seeing how far we've actually come. And even in the experiences that were challenges that we feel like we didn't quite win in, we did win in knowledge and understanding and learning and what not to do the next time. So everything was a winning process. So give yourself time. If you wrote goals for the beginning of the year, break out those goals and compare what you wanted to accomplish to what you did accomplish. If during the year you found those goals really didn't match where you wanted to go, or that you just changed them totally, then there's no need for that comparison because you reevaluated yourself and you said, okay, we're going to do things different. So just look at what you accomplished for the year, what you learned, and what you released. That's a big one too, because in releasing is a great growth process. So there may have been some ideas you had in the beginning of the year or during the year that you thought, I'm going to do it this way and this is going to work. And you grew to release those ideas and just embrace others. Or you grew to release certain habits and embrace and create new ones. So give yourself time to digest those 3 elements of the past year. Then you want to choose the areas of your business that you want to focus on for next year. So I suggest that you do a little research, look for a couple of templates, and decide what are the areas that I want to focus on most for the coming year. And I suggest, because you will find multiple areas, that you choose your top 2 to 3 to really form a plan around. So it may be, we all want to always increase our sales and our profits. Sales and profits. It may be I want a stronger marketing plan. It may be I want to expand in a certain area. I want to expand a certain product line. I want to form partnerships. Anything you come up with from your research that you want to grow that area of your business, write it down, and then choose your top 2 to 3 that you want to really hone in and focus on. And some of the areas we are overlap, because then if you say I want to increase my sales, that may take you to changing your marketing. So some areas are going to overlap with each other. But you don't want to have a list of 10 or 12 things you're trying to do in the year to grow in. So find a way to condense it to 2 to 3 things you want to really focus on and really get good at. That means over a 12-month period, you're going to be an expert in this area that you've chosen because you're giving yourself the space and the time to really concentrate on it, to really grow in it. So 2 to 3 great areas that you want to grow your business in. Once you have those 2 to 3 areas chosen, you want to envision yourself in those areas. And what I mean by that is you want to choose the area. Let's say the area is marketing. You want to grow your marketing platform or practices. Maybe you want to have 1,000 or 2,000 more followers. So you want to envision yourself opening up your computer, going to whatever social media site, and looking at that number of your followers, or looking at a post you did and seeing that you had over 200 to 300 comments on it. So whatever you want for that area you've chosen, you want to envision yourself having accomplished that goal. So again, you want to take time, give yourself space to think about it. You don't have to come up with everything in one sitting. You know, you've chosen your areas, you've let that breathe, then you come back and now I'm going to do my vision. For December 31st, 2024, what do I want to be looking at? What do I want to be experiencing? How do I see myself? And I always have a smile on your face in your vision. So envision you in those three areas. Then once you've let that breathe and that's settled into your system, you want to break down those goals in those 2 to 3 areas into measurable goals. So dollar amounts, counts, you know, number of followers, number of comments, number of sales. You want to break it down to what will that number be by year end. And then you want to work yourself backwards to quarterly. So I want the number to be 10,000 by December 31st. How much do I want it to be each quarter? The first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and the final quarter. So break it down quarterly. So with 10,000, let's say you're saying, okay, the first quarter, I'm giving myself time to wrap up. So let's say it's going to be 2,000 first quarter, whether it's followers, dollars, sales, whatever, 2,000 first quarter. Second quarter, I want it to be 2,500. You know, third quarter, 3,000, and on to the fourth quarter. So just think about how you can quantify your goal into numbers and then break that annual goal down quarterly. Then once you have your goal broken down quarterly, I want you to look at the first quarter and break it down more. Monthly, and then weekly. And you're only doing this with quarter one because what your focus is to learn and grow from quarter one. And then when you get to quarter two, you would break that down, but with the knowledge you've gained. So instead of going through a process of trying to break down an entire year, just break down the first quarter. Okay, if I said quarter one, I wanted, my quantity is 2,000. What can I do each week to get to that 2,000? Right. So you're going to start that thought process. What can I do weekly to get to that 2,000 each in that quarter? What can I do each month to get to that? And then within the month, what can I do each week? So quarterly, monthly, then weekly. After you have your first quarter broken down, this is going to allow you to be much more productive because now you're getting to the details. Now your mind is working on, okay, what do I need to do? Your mind is getting bite-sized bits of activity that you can envision, and you're also doing this with the understanding of this first quarter, I am expecting myself to learn a lot, to grow, so that when I get to the next quarter, I can apply what I've learned, as opposed to having the whole year planned out. And, by the second quarter, I have to be able to do this. No, you're learning during the first quarter. You're learning every month. You're learning every week, so that by the time you get to your second quarter, you're more informed, you're more educated, you're wiser, you are more experienced. So now you can look at that quarter two and see if the goal you set is still the goal you want to stick with. So allow yourself flexibility to change that goal. You may want to increase it, you may want to decrease it, you may want to change it totally to a totally different product or a totally different division of focus. But give yourself that space. So break down quarter one, monthly and weekly, Then the next thing is you want to track your success. And that's the final step. You want to buy a calendar, buy a scale, buy whatever format you choose, a worksheet on your computer. You want to track your success. So whatever you said you would accomplish monthly, then weekly during quarter one. From that weekly process, you want to include the activities you're going to do weekly, and those are the activities you're tracking. You're tracking those activities and you're seeing what the results are that come from those activities. So once you're completing all your activities, you're looking at your results, or your results matching what you declared you wanted to achieve. And if not, what changes are needed. So tracking comes in to make sure you stay on track and make sure you are aware of what needs to be changed, so that on a week by week basis, you're able to evaluate, and then on a month by month basis, you're able to see if there are changes that are needed. With every process or every step or activity that you put in place, we all know that everything takes time. So if you do it consistently for a week and you're not getting the results, you may not see it till day 31. It may take 4 weeks before you see a result, or 6 weeks, but you're steadily tracking that you're putting in the activity with the awareness of you expect that result to come down the line. So those are the steps that I suggest for rounding out this year and planning for next year in your business. Again, I suggest you do some research, find some templates that help you to track easily, that help you to identify what are the 2-3 areas you want to focus on, but definitely give yourself that time to review what you've experienced this year and congratulate yourself for your accomplishments, for what you learned, and for what you released. Finally, I want to encourage you to do 2 additional things. One is to create a vision board based upon your dreams, your goals for next year. Once you have your goals set, create a vision board that depicts what those goals look like and feel like to you. It could be a picture of something related to the actual goal. It can be just a picture of joy and happiness. If your emotion connected to that goal is a certain type of emotion, you may find a picture of someone expressing that emotion. And when you look at it, it triggers for you a connection to that goal. So it doesn't have to be a picture of the exact same, someone doing the thing that you're thinking about or that your goal is related to. It can also be someone who is expressing that emotion or something that creates that emotion within you, so that when you look at it, it ignites that goal within you. It ignites that feeling, the spirit of what you want to achieve. So that's one. Another is I want you to take the time and write out a day, a typical day in your life with your goals in mind, what you said you want to accomplish. Sit down and write out what a day will look like for you. So this process, what it helps you to do is it helps you to start carving out a schedule and understanding the flexibility you're going to need and the realism of what you're asking yourself to achieve. It may allow you to see that you have wiggle room to add more, or that you're so constricted that you need to release something and break things down a little smaller, because in all that you do, your number one priority is having the highest presence of yourself there. So you being totally well, you being totally taken care of as you step into these activities and processes. So you also want to, of course, make sure you give yourself space for wellness, space for self-care, space for a mental break, space for healing, or whatever you need. So make sure you incorporate that. So working through a day would kind of give you that sense of, okay, based on the goals I've set, am I telling myself that I need to be doing something every hour for 15, 15 hours of the day? Or how can I break that down so that it feels more well for me? It feels more realistic with everything I have going on in my life. It feels more manageable. You know, let's do this from a place of what's going to be best for me, what's going to help me keep my cup full, so that when I come to these activities, I'm coming as my top quality self and I'm getting things done. So those are things just to think about to help you as you think about your process of ending the year and beginning the new year. Also, please keep in mind that to do this process over a couple of days. You may want to do it over a couple of days, set it aside, then come back to it in a couple of days. Like, do it over a couple of days, enjoy the holidays, and pick it up before the new year. Go through it again and think about what you've experienced and think about what you've learned and how you're feeling about it. Adjust it as needed. Be flexible with yourself, be compassionate with yourself. Um, One of the primary reasons for setting goals is that unless we are in a system of competition, like in a sport where they have their system is set up to push you to see what your best is. When we set goals, we are challenging ourselves to push ourselves to see what our best is, because we're aware that we will never know what that is unless we try something outside of what we're currently doing, right? Try something outside of the comfort zone. Try something that sounds or looks a little too big, because when we are setting goals, the only one there to push us is us. So if the goal is so small and so easy that you could do it with your eyes closed, then it's not a challenging goal. You want a goal that's going to push you in a healthy way so that when you're done with it, you know more about your greatness, you know more about your strength, you know more about your bravery, your courage, you know more about all the talents and the skills and the abilities you have within you that you can bring out to create greatness. So think about that when you start setting your goals. How does this help me to express my greatness? How does this help me to feed the passion of my purpose? How does this help me to be the best of myself and surprise myself? How can I surprise myself with how great I actually am? So think about those things. Have a wonderful end of the year. Have a wonderful beginning of the year. And I wish for you that all the goals and the dreams you set for next year come true, and even more, that they surprise you, that you learn so much about yourself, and that you spend the year taking exquisite care of yourself, so that everything you pour out into the world is sparkling and shining and gold and full of the greatest, most positive energy. So have a wonderful holiday season. Have a happy new year. And Women of Color in Business podcast, We'll be running in season 2 next year. We look forward to seeing you there. Take care and be well.